but I'm doing it because I'm honouring her, and I'm making her proud of what we're doing. Exactly, and it takes a long time to do it that way, but it's a good solid growth. You know, for me, the ultimate goal is to take this, globally.
Yeah.
Yeah, but not through the major chains. Yeah, just got to jump in and just got to have faith in yourself, and and whatever problem occurs, you've just got to solve problems. That's what running the business is just solving problem after problem after.
You're listening to Beyond Growth with Reyan Fernando.
Nice to have you in the podcast, mate. It's been a long time since we've spoken in some sort of recording format, but the moons have aligned and you're in Geelong. How you doing?
Yes, mate. Come down to sunny Geelong. Brought the weather down with me today.
You did?
Take full responsibility for that. Yeah. So we've been meaning to catch up for ages, and I keep inviting you over, and here I am on your turf for a change.
I know. What look, I must admit, when you said you were here, I was like, oh, it's a good opportunity to get you in front of the recording studio and get your story, mate. It's good, and we've known each other now for about 4 or 5 years, at least. Yeah. It's been a bit of a journey, and I think we've learned a lot from each other, and keen to hear your story. So for the listeners who don't know Anthony Brookes from Mama Malisse, give us the origin story, mate, and go as far back as you'd like to go.
Okay, so 20 years ago, when I first met my wife, we were in London, and we did a little bit of travelling. We came back for a bit, and I met my Burns' beautiful mum, Malisse, and we were having dinner one night, and she pulled out this sauce, and it's like, oh my God, what the hell is this? And it was absolutely fantastic right there. And then I said to Bern, hey, we could sell this at some stage. And so it's always been a dream of ours to commercialise it, but it's always, life gets in the way. Like, we both work full-time. I've got another company, and Bern works full-time in the hospital, and the opportunity to commercialise it never arose, or you can say arose, or whether we just didn't have the time to commercialise it properly. And when we did it, it was never going to be just an ad hoc. It was either do it properly or don't do it at all. Yeah. And then COVID came around and gave us the opportunity to commercialise it properly. And then after seeing how much work it took to get something from just a product, or as a sauce in the kitchen, onto the market, the amount of work that it took was just insane. You sort of have an idea of what is involved, but until you do it, you don't really know what is ahead of you. It's like climbing a mountain. You've got a mountain in front of you, but you don't know how high it is, so you just start climbing. Yeah,
no, that's it, and not seeing the horizon, which is common for most business owners, really. They just don't know what they've started till they've started it and get going. Mm-hmm. Now, for those listening and haven't heard of Mama Malisse, particularly, especially the hot sauce, talk me through the hot sauce. So we just give the listeners an understanding of what we're talking about.
Okay, so there's take what you know of hot sauce or of a chili sauce, and forget what you know about it, because this sauce that Mama Malisse is completely different to every other hot sauces that's on the market. It's hot, but it's nice, and it's got body to it. It's very thick, so it's unlike all the other hot sauces that are out there. The texture of it is, again, quite thick as well. It's got a lot of body to it, and it's when you pour it out of the bottle, it comes out really thick. So it's almost between a jam and a thick chutney. Yeah, rather than most of the other hot sauces out there that are very liquidy. Yeah, and so it's completely different to everything that's out there.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly believe the phrase hot sauce doesn't quite do it justice, because it's more than a hot sauce, but it's definitely a delicious product. And obviously it's got roots back in Sri Lanka, which is where I'm from as well. So this is where I guess, connected so much with what you're doing and the passion to bring that, because that hot sauce I've had back in Sri Lanka, but you don't find it here. Mm-hmm. So till you've created it. Yeah, well, we see creating it is probably the it's Malisse's family recipe. So they're the ones, and her family, that are the ones that created it. All we've done is, yes, we cook it and we bottle it, and we've shared it with the world.
And that's like to have the opportunity to share a product that is this good. It's, I believe that there's, in your lifetime, you get certain opportunities. You don't get a lot of them.
Yeah.
But and when these opportunities come up, like this is a great opportunity because the product is such a unique and such a good product.
Yeah, and I mean it's almost like every business person's dream, especially in that food sort of market where everything's sort of been done. So when you come up with a product that there's really no competition for this hot sauce, like that's what I mean when you say hot sauce. It doesn't resonate with me because it's a chili sauce, but it's not the traditional hot sauce blow your socks off kind of stuff, which I'm not a fan of, but this has flavor, it has depth, and it has versatility in how you use it as well, which I guess that's kind of the journey you went through. So you found it, you started to mass produce it, and obviously fine tune the recipe and the end product. And I know, like, I would just want to, I guess, share your story with regards to, what that took, how that process of getting this product, shelf ready, getting the best before, and I guess all those little bits and pieces when it comes to growing a business that, people think, I'll start doing hot sauces and sell it at a market, but there's so much there. So tell us all.
The whole thing is, as you've just said, taking a product that you enjoy in your kitchen, that you make at home, and then making it transgress to a product that is on the shelf. There is so much involved with that that you just don't think of at the time.
Yeah.
Like I've got a background in marketing, so I understand with product, place, promotion, price, and all those. But not until you get involved in it and immersed in it do you realize that how much work is involved to bringing all these things together to get the product right. So the packaging, for example, like Malisse is such a legend that we had to do, for me to make this a commercial product, I had to honor her the best way that I could.
Yeah.
And so the product, the packaging with it, we only use glass. We were originally looking at a thin plastic, like a honey squeeze bottle, because that's easy to use. But then when we started looking at plastic, we realised that there was so many fundamentals of that weren't right, that suited the product, right? Because you can't heat fill a plastic thin container. And then someone said to me eventually, plastic's cheap. And it's like, there it is. Yeah. Plastic is cheap. It's like having a Ferrari engine in a really, really shitty car.
Yeah.
There's no point.
No.
It devalues the engine of the car.
Yeah, and I do like the bottles. I'll have to pop some links on here so you guys can go check it out listening to the show. But I do like the bottles, and I think I mentioned that in the past. It just sort of reminds me of some of the old school Schranken alcohol bottles, which I guess is kind of what it is. It's kind of like a whiskey bottle or something like that. But I feel like it does its justice.
Yeah.
And just, I don't know, stands out, especially on a shelf, especially even at home. Like I open the fridge up and I'm like, plastic. Mama Malisse is there. So it's a great choice, in that. So, I mean, I guess, yeah. So talk us through early days. So, getting it out there and what that was like. Because I think, you and I, we both have I guess we met in the barbecue world, which we have fond memories of, and I'm still sort of part of it, but definitely not as much as when I first started. Mm-hmm. But talk me through how important it is to build that community and growing it in that sense, and whether that happened organically or whether it was planned.
It was very much organic. So I had the product. The product is just a fantastic product. But you can have the best product in the world, but if no one knows about it, there's so many things with products that have succeeded that have been the B grade product. Like when you look at hemp and nylon, like hemp is such a superior product, but because nylon had all the marketing money behind it and the politics in America, nylon was the product that succeeded. Same with beta and VHS, those people out there that remembered videotapes. Like you had, when they came on the market, there was two systems, beta and VHS. And beta was a superior system, but VHS won out in the long run because of their marketing. Yep. So if you have a look at supermarkets, there are so many products out there that are shit products, but they're being successful because they've all got the marketing mix behind them and the money behind them.
Yep.
And so being able to push through from an unknown into that realm, it's really, really difficult.
Yeah.
So I've got a sales background. So getting our sauce, once we had it bottled and the packaging and it into a commercial product, getting it into places was easy because I'd send off samples to butchers and they would taste it and they go, this is great. And they'd take it, they'd take an order. But then getting it to move from the butcher's shelf, getting people to pick it up and take it home when they didn't know about it, that was the really difficult thing.
Yeah.
And that's something you don't think about when you first start the product. Getting it, you think, oh, I'll get the sales. And yes, the sales were coming in, but it was sitting on butchers' shelves. It wasn't moving through the butchers. And so we had some really good butchers and it just didn't succeed because people weren't familiar with the product.
Yeah.
And so then we've sort of remodeled our approach to it where if we can get people to taste and try our product, then it flies off the shelf.
Yeah.
And so it's making that jump and getting people to know about the product, which is what all the hard work is with the social media and everything. But a photo doesn't do it justice because as soon as it's in someone's mouth and someone tastes it, then they realise how good this thing is. But it's getting the people to taste it and putting something in your mouth. Like I find that a very personal interaction that someone is prepared to put something you give them into their mouth, right? They're taking it into their body. So I've got massive respect for everyone that's willing to try our sauce.
Yeah.
And I admire that. And that respect, I think, allows us to then focus on the value of what it is getting people to taste our product.
Yeah, man. And I think that's so true because, you are up against a wall of different products, like literally, in any shop. And I suppose just touching on that sales piece. So, we've talked about this in the past, and I sort of obviously had a bit of a stint in fast-moving consumer goods role as well. And I guess the importance of discipline when it comes to that sales process. And not many do it well. Let's face it, like there was so many people that started their own either barbecue rub company or a sauce company, especially over the lockdowns and things like that. And it's amazing how many of those have failed post. Some were maybe product based, some were just basically not enough accountability and not enough discipline in the sales piece. But for those people that are maybe thinking about starting something similar and getting into butchers, because butchers are a friendly mob. And I've spoken to so many butchers over my time, especially in their sales work, and I find, they are willing to give things a go. They do like the sample, but you literally have to get in front of them, don't you? So talk me through like how much activity went into like getting into all those butchers, because you got some good coverage without necessarily having a distributor in place, especially early days.
Yeah, well, we distribute direct ourselves still.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. And the reason I'm not keen on getting different distributors is because we've got complete control over our product. So we're not relying on distributors for sales, and if they are finding that they're not being, the product isn't being taken up to a certain degree, they'll just flag your product and forget about it. So you've got to do the grind yourself. There's no way around the grind unless you've got a massive marketing budget. Yeah, which a lot of people don't have. And the food industry is basically run by 10 different companies. Yeah, they control the whole food around the world. And so being able to break into this market is extremely difficult. Yeah. And there's no substitute for actually knocking on doors. No. Presenting your product, but not only just presenting your product. We go a step further that if a butcher takes us on, we want to support that butcher as much as possible. So if they're doing in-store taste testings or sausage sizzles or anything on the weekend, we will supply them with sauce so people are tasting it. And so finding those little inches, because we're out there, it's a war. Like you're going to war with your product against the other products. Yep. And if you're not seeing it like that and taking it that seriously, you're wasting your time. Absolutely. And so you've got to throw absolutely everything at it. And some things stick, some things don't. Yeah. And every customer is different. Yeah. So, but if you knock on enough doors and you get enough customers, eventually the thing grows, and it grows organically by being on the shelf, by people seeing you on social media, but more importantly, people that are using our product that are then telling their friends, which is what the gold is.
Oh, absolutely. I think, you can't pay for that stuff, to be able to, and I think that's where your product is sort of stands out so much from what I've seen out there, and just seeing how well it's, I guess, not accepted, but it's taken on, and then people just become instant fans. And once you got instant fans, and that's like any product or any service, if your customer's your biggest fan, I mean, that's your marketing budget, most of your marketing budget taken care of, really, because, it's gonna spread so much more.
Exactly. And it takes a long time to do it that way, but it's a good, solid growth. So, then you've got to have everything behind you, because if you come out overnight with a product and it goes bam, right, you've got to have everything in place to be able to supply the market.
Absolutely.
And so many times you see products come and they're really big, and then 6 months later they're gone.
Yeah.
They're just not around because they haven't got the things in place, or they've just exhausted their market so quickly.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's so many other elements to it that you don't think of until you're immersed into it.
I think so, and I think I think people. One is getting the cogs turning, right? Any business is, you need clients, you need product, you need to sell your product, you need to find customers.
Yep.
And I think people you can take that passion for a product and create some great flavors and things like that, or great service. But then if you don't have that ability to, a lot of people just don't like the sales side of thing, right? Like it's one of those things. I remember when I was in my 20s, I hated it.
Yeah.
I did a few sales roles and I'm like, oh, this sucks. And then I don't want to do this, but it's just through maturity and a bit of confidence as well. And then realizing a no is not a no for you, or not a no now. Like, that's the biggest thing for me.
Yep.
Is that realization going, okay, maybe not now, but I'll try again in 6 months.
It's handling the rejection.
You have to.
And you could be selling baked beans or jumbo jets.
Yeah.
The concept of the sale is exactly the same regardless of the size of the product. And it's being able to knock on doors and handle the rejection, bat some rejection, try and combat it, overcome it. But then there's times when you're best off just moving on and finding another customer that is happy to welcome your product.
Absolutely. And this is, I find that with just even what I do, right? So obviously a big transition from 20 years in IT and then now working as an EOS implementer, I found, that you kind of, what I'm doing is good, but it's not for everyone.
Yeah.
And that's totally fine. And it took me, I'm almost 2 years now in this role, and it just took me 2 years to go, hang on, not everyone's going to need it or want it.
Yeah.
And not everyone needs it now. And you've just got to move on but maintain those relationships, right?
Yes.
I think even at the butcher level, it's amazing because they deal with so many different businesses that'll come in, just want to get their product on the shelf and they'll bugger off. So you kind of want to keep those relationships going. Yeah.
And that's where people that distribute through distributors, they're losing that personal contact.
Yes.
Which people buy from people.
100%. We've said that a few times over the years, haven't we?
Yep.
And I think I find that even with that saying, it's the other thing with distribution, and especially when you lose that control, is that you go from being your number one priority is Mama Malisse for you. But then all of a sudden you're one of 50 labels that a distribution companies needs to try and get on a shelf.
Yeah.
And then if it, I've sort of seen it myself where if a product just doesn't move, we can't keep, you only got a finite amount of time from a sales team point of view, right? There's only so many EDMs you can send someone, and your product does get ignored. So it is important. I think there's balance as well. I really think there is a value in a distributor, but then still, working side by side with them and then growing your own base as well.
Yes.
Even if it's to find a lead and then handball it to the distributor, because end of the day, if you're selling a product, I think you still got to keep selling even if you got a distributor.
Yeah, well, no one's going to sell your product as good as you.
No.
Ever.
No.
Doesn't matter what it is, doesn't matter what the incentives are, no one's going to believe in the product as much as yourself.
Absolutely.
When it's your product.
Yeah.
I've got two companies. So I've got a corporate hospitality company where we sell corporate boxes at sporting events. Then we've got the Mama Malisse company where we manufacture hot sauce and mustard. And I get a bigger buzz out of selling a bottle of hot sauce for $15 or $27 than I do out of selling a box at the races for $10,000.
Yeah.
Yep, like I do make a lot more from the $10,000 per transaction, but that's not my product. The sauce is my product.
Absolutely.
And, for someone to take that on, that gives me a buzz.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. And I think that's kind of, I resonate with that so much because 20 years in IT and doing some work and working for other people as well as I ran my own business early days. But I did find that when it wasn't mine and I struggle with it.
Yeah.
I think some people just love just to go, yep, cool, no worries, I'm part of that. I'm going to sell this product, and this is what I do. But yeah, I was just it was never felt right, and it is one of those things that you kind of you either you love it or you hate it. But I think when you love what you sell, like it's not. I don't think it doesn't feel like not a job, because you still got to hustle. I mean, it is what it is. But it makes it so much easier, right? And I think that passion piece, and I've got to. I mean, obviously, a family's got a lot to do with this, right? So, I mean, Mama Malisse, it's her recipe. Melissa's daughter's Bern, obviously your wife. You're all working in the business to a certain degree. You're predominantly sort of running a few things, but obviously everyone gets in, especially your cook-ups, right? So the whole family comes in, does cook-ups, right? So talk me through like how important is family through all this? And I know you sort of, it's kind of drives the business.
Mm-hmm. Family to us is absolutely everything, and you realise that the more that you mature in life. Like what do we do everything for? What are the biggest things that happen in our life? They all revolve around family.
Yeah.
And when you're young, you don't want to spend time with your family. You want to go and live your life. And then when you get older, you realise that everything you do is for not only yourself but the benefit of your children and your wife, because you want to give them the best opportunities they can. So we were very unfortunate where our beautiful daughter died. 3 years ago, Zoe, she was an absolute legend. She passed away when she was 13, and she was Australia's youngest heart and double lung transplant recipient. Yeah. But the way that she lived her life, even though she got dealt a shit hand of cards at the start of her life, was just incredible. And so I take inspiration. We all take inspiration from the way that she lived her life, and the way that she dealt with everything, the way that she cracked on. And I now am like, I probably work too hard with the hours that I put into this, but I'm doing it because I'm honouring her, and I'm making her proud of what we're doing. Yep. So to have everyone involved it's fantastic. Like, don't get me wrong, one of the golden rules is don't mix business and family. Yeah. But I think that comes with outside of your immediate family, like sisters and brothers and everything else.
True. Yeah.
But when it's your kids and your business, like Reese, the youngest, who's just turned 13, he runs his own stall at times.
Yeah.
And he loves it. He's just watering his acorn. So he just thinks he's going to be able to take over the business when he gets older. So which I'd love him to be able to do, but we're going to make sure that he's ready and that he's got the right skills to do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but I'd rather hand it down to him than to sell it off. But that's just family.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. And look, I mean, you mentioned Reese, and that's, I find he's such a beautiful human. I met him a few times at multiple events, and just his enthusiasm and his love for what you all do, and I guess everything that he's part of. It's just amazing to see that passion he has, and that's obviously cultivated through a great family life too. So good on you guys. Like, that's just fantastic.
But he is still a teenager.
So, he is.
Yeah, and he's becoming into his teenage years.
Oh, right.
We
only see one side of the...
Yes, you only see one side. The other, both sides are very entertaining.
Yeah, I'm sure.
We're only seeing one side.
Right.
But until you have children and then you see them go through these stages, you don't understand until you witness it. So, even seeing your first child go through it, and then when the second child goes through it, you understand that they're teenagers, and everything changes in there with them.
Yeah.
So,
and they go through it. I'm just finding like Evie, my second, she goes through it. She's going through it totally differently, and I'm just like, wow. It's interesting. Yeah. So I haven't got hit the teens yet, so I might tap you on the shoulder for some tips and tricks when I get there.
Just, if I can say anything, just enjoy every moment of it.
Yeah.
You know, it's all, life isn't all roses, and you just roll with it, and take a step back when you're angry at something, and just have a giggle at it, laugh at yourself.
Yeah. I know it's tough for you, so in the moment, and it's kind of really, it does get to me, but then, it is one of those things you reflect back and go like, wow, this is just, the attitude that obviously they're getting from the attitude I've got is quite interesting to experience.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, if your kid hasn't picked up everything that's on their floor, big deal. You know, it's just another thing on the floor. You know?
No.
And when your kids are nice to everyone else when they go out, and you know everyone says, "Oh, your child is so polite" or everything, but they're turds to you at home. Well, that's a win.
Yes. Yeah. Like someone says they're amazing humans and not on a podcast.
Yes, I wouldn't give them back for the world.
No, that's it, mate. And look, just going back to, I suppose, the growth of the sauce and the Mama Malisse and over the last 4 years, you had some scaling challenges, you know, and some of that's been product and needing product and floods in Queensland and things like that. But then also you've sort of moved into a commercial kitchen recently as well, which has been that real step up to that next level in the business too. So talk me through some of the scaling journeys.
Yeah, so going from making a product, so we never used our own kitchen at home. From day one, we had issues with the council. It wasn't the kitchen that we had issues with, it was the council that we were dealing with that was exceptionally difficult. So straight away, we jumped into a commercial kitchen, which we were renting through the local racecourse. So they've got full commercial kitchen, but they're only using it a handful of days a month. So we had the opportunity to rent that on a per use basis. So going from there, there was only a certain amount of product that we could make doing it that way. And it was great to have the opportunity to do that. And we allowed the business to grow without having massive expense and commitments in case it didn't work.
Yeah.
And so we then transitioned into our own kitchen because we needed to make more product. So the business has grown and we've grown with the business. So as you said, with product, like we use fresh chili. And so fresh chili isn't always readily available. You don't know this until you start making hot sauce. And so, floods come through Queensland, and then you realise chilies have gone from $80 a box up to $380 a box, and the quality of them is really, really poor.
Yeah.
To the point that you almost can't use them.
Yeah.
And so then you've got, your product, people are ringing up and asking to buy more product from you into their stores. So you've got to be able to have product to supply them. And so we've learned to have sort of a backup stock to compensate for that and to have that backup, because I'd never ever want to turn around to a customer and say, look, we can't supply you.
Yeah.
I'd rather not get new clients, which we haven't done. Which there was a point there for 18 months where we couldn't go out and get new customers because we just had enough stock to supply our existing customers.
Yeah.
And so for us to grow, it's like, okay, we need to take this step. And so it was just a natural progression. So we've now gone into our own commercial kitchen, and it's an absolute game changer for us.
Yeah.
And yes, there's massive expense with all that, but again, it comes back to having total control over your product. And I will not sacrifice that control for anything.
Yeah, that's it. And I think I love the fact that we've spoken in the past about the quality of how important the quality of the chili is. And then to the point where you lose so much flavor if you don't have, or the chilies had too much water.
Yeah.
Which is something you don't even think about it until you're obviously making things.
Yeah, but it's a pride. It's having pride in your product and pride in your work. And we've got Malisse's name on the bottle, and so I'm in honor of her. I'm not going to compensate on anything ever.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I must admit, it's stuff you don't, like you said, you don't think about when you first start. I just find it quite fascinating that sort of the growth in the kitchen as well. And then obviously even that was a battle, right? Like I think you had to go through so much hoops just to get the new commercial kitchen signed off and things like that. So it certainly they don't make it easy for you.
Well, we took on a completely empty factory. I was up at Beef up at Rockhampton with Reese, and Bern rang me and said, "Look, I've found us a warehouse." It was the closest warehouse to our house. It's like, okay. I went and had a look at it when we got back. This is perfect.
Just give me 30 seconds. If you're based in Geelong and you're looking to connect, grow, and be a part of a supportive business community, you need to check out the Geelong Chamber of Commerce. When I started my first business, the Chamber had a great impact on my growth. And now with my new business, it continues to play a big part in helping me grow. I believe in it so much that I'm now on the board. So if you're running a business in Geelong, I can't recommend joining enough. Find out more by heading to geelongchamber.com.au. Now back to the show.
But it was an empty factory.
Yep.
No kitchen, no nothing. And so we've then had to build our own commercial kitchen. and trying to get the knowledge of council of what you need to build a kitchen, right? They won't give you that information. They'll give you a guideline, and you try and try and work out what those guidelines mean. But then there's no answer. Like we don't have the budget to get anything wrong. So taking it into our own commercial kitchen and having to build that from scratch is, it's a learning experience.
Yeah.
I'm not. I can use a drill, but everything else is okay. We haven't got the budget to pay someone to build a commercial kitchen. We've just got to go on and jump in and start swimming and let's build this thing. And so we sourced all the equipment, all secondhand. We sourced the walls and everything, and we built our commercial kitchen. And there was costs with flooring and coving on the edges of the flooring and all these things which you don't know. And then you look at on Facebook Marketplace, there's a range hood, commercial range hood that's $3,000. You think, okay, I'll budget for that. And all of a sudden you realise that, hang on, you're not allowed to use that range hood. You need this range hood. And then, the cost of that is $15,000 installed. It's like, okay, well, so you've just got to, and then we're bouncing what we're doing off absolutely everyone. So, because we only had one shot at it. Yeah. And then being told by a guy who had just built his own commercial kitchen that he was in for $300,000.
Yeah.
In a factory around the corner. And I'm going, $300,000, we can't do that.
Yeah.
So we jumped in and we got this kitchen up and running. But at the same time, the business is growing, so you haven't got spare cash to put into that when all your spare cash is going into buying more bottles, more labels, to grow the business at the same time. So it's just one of those experiences that you just got to jump in and you just got to have faith in yourself. And and whatever problem occurs, you've just got to solve problems. That's what running a business is just solving problem after problem after problem.
Yeah, just keep making your problems better and bigger.
Yeah.
That's it. Now, I suppose from a timeline point of view, so just people sort of get an idea. So kicked off around 2020?
Yeah, 2020. Yeah, during COVID.
Yeah. Right. So the fun times in life. And then 2021 started getting a bit more commercial, a bit more push through as well.
Yep.
And then what was it, 6 months ago the kitchen was up and running, 3 months ago?
Yeah, we took the kitchen on 12 months ago.
Yep.
And it took us 6 months to get
build it
up.
It
certified.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And we got it certified first time, which I thought was going to take quite a lot. And that's because we liaised with council and I kept asking. And he knew that we were trying to do the right thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think that's the bit that people probably one of the takeaways if you are out there, trying to build a commercial kitchen, is that liaising with the council, how important that is, especially early days. Yeah, I think you also mentioned that you was potentially rated at the next level, the amount of work you put into that kitchen as well, right? So
there's just so many things just hoops that you got to continuously jump through. So one thing that we didn't know of was we used refrigeration paneling, which is great for wiping down because that's one of the things with the walls. You have to have a flat, cleanable surface. And so you can't just have exposed brick because it's porous. And so we got this commercial refrigeration paneling, what they make cool rooms out of, which is great. But then insurance companies won't insure that because it's very flammable. But you don't learn this. No one tells you this until you've built a commercial kitchen out of it. Everything's great. The council come in and sign off on everything. This is great. Everything can be wiped down. It's nice and clean. But then you try and get insurance on the building and go, well, hang on, what percentage of your building is made of this material? Because we don't like it as an insurer.
Oh, wow.
So again, another problem you've just got to overcome.
Yeah,
all these, but you learn so much along the way. And yes, it's daunting, but as long as you look at it and it's about the journey. And this is what the journey is about. It's like learning these things, and it's experience as well. So there's good experiences and bad experiences with it. But as on the whole, I now know how to build a commercial kitchen. Yeah, which I'm not a builder.
No, and you didn't know that 12 months ago.
Yeah. But all these things can be learned. You can learn them.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of I love that spirit, that entrepreneurial spirit when it comes to that. Going, okay, what's the next challenge? Okay, let's do it. And I suppose like looking at that, like the last 5 years for yourself, there's so many places where people would have pulled the pin. so many times.
Yeah.
Like where you're going like, okay, that's enough. And you see that a lot. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, you still had other work to do as well, and you got a family, and you've got to make sure you're feeding, keeping them, feeding them as well. So many moments in time, that you sort of go, okay, you just got to pull up your socks and either go in and then get that job done, or it's just too easy to, not too easy, but or pull the pin.
You go, that's it, yeah. But we're so far in now that there's like from about 4 years ago, it was like, okay, this is serious now.
Yeah.
And we're not here to, failure is not an option with this.
Yeah.
We've got such a good product. We've just got to keep tapping away. It's like the way I describe it is like you've got a big dam wall, big concrete wall holding back all this water.
Yep.
Right? And you go with your little hammer and you chip away and you chip, nothing. Get nothing. And you keep chipping, nothing. And then all of a sudden you get one drop. It's like, I've got a drop. So you keep chipping away, chip, nothing. You do all this work and chip away again and you still get another drop. And then eventually you get a squirt. And you keep chipping away and then eventually the whole dam will burst.
Yep.
And you've just got to be ready for that. You've got to have everything in place for when that moment comes.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's the slow scale definitely helped you with that because, you were able to, like you said, we keep fixing issues, right? As a business owners and leaders, that's what we do. Which is what's the next issue?
You'd know that with your business.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And that's kind of, it's funny. I ran an IT company for 6 years and stepped away and got sort of acquired by another IT company and was part of that. It was great. For me, I said, I'm never going to start my business again, but then, 10 years in a different company and it really not feeling like my own, and which it wasn't. It was never feel like it. It's really hard, even if in the leadership team, it's really hard for a business or a company to feel like it's yours.
Yep.
Or you don't, you can have say, but you don't have the ultimate say.
Of course.
And that's why I've sort of really enjoyed the last 2 years, like really getting back into the groove, but actually doing something that's truly helping people. And I feel like, especially now that I'm seeing clients come out after a year and a half and the conversations I'm having and the impact, the tools that I'm teaching I have.
Yeah.
It's just fun. I'm like, okay, cool. I know I'm doing the right thing.
Yep.
And actually really enjoying the balance that it's bringing. It's just really, really good. And I think we go through a lot in life to get to these places, but like, you said, like, how much joy you get from just selling a bottle of sauce as opposed to selling a function. So that's so true, isn't it? And when it's your own.
But it's going back to what you were saying earlier, when it's not the right time for someone. It's this. I remember a little cartoon, and this is before everything was now considered, like a lot of things are considered inappropriate. But this little cartoon was of General Custard, right? And he was fighting the Indians. Right? Forget about, I don't mean anything inappropriate about this. I'm just describing a cartoon that I saw. Right? Just a drawing cartoon. And so he's there and he's fighting all these Indians and they're coming over the fence of the fort. And there's a salesman behind him trying to get Custard's attention. And he's got a machine gun, right? That's going to help General Custard deal with the issue, right? And then, but Custard's going, I'm too busy, right? And then that you've got the best product for the person. Like you must see businesses where you see where your system can just take this business and benefit it so much.
Yeah.
But you've got to deal with the frustration when people, as you said, it's not they're ready or they don't see.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think, and it's funny, sort of doing fast sales. I didn't take it personally, and it's taken me 2 years now to go. It's not personal, nothing personal. And even because with the EOS, so EOS is a set of tools and processes and just ways to run your business. So just an operating system for your business. There's no, everything's free, which I love about it. You can go to the website, eosworldwide.com. Download the tools, do it yourself. Everything's DIY. And then on top of that, there's a handful of implementers. There's 4 in Geelong. We all work, we all effectively teach the tools. We teach the same thing. And then the finite difference is who we are as a human. So sometimes people just don't like you, and that's okay. You know, like I think that
you're not going to like everyone.
no, that's it.
Yeah.
So I think, I mean, look, it's one of those things. I think there's, when you're starting a business and you're trying to grow it and you need clients, you know, obviously you just need to keep growing and growing. And it's just early days, you kind of take things personally, and it's common. But I think it's been, for me, especially in the last 6 months, of going like, no, there's people that come work with me, I really love working with. I'm yet to have a client that started working with which I don't enjoy.
Yep.
And how close I get with these leaders is just amazing. Like,
but your customers, your clients, they're willing to adapt and take on ideas. Which, you know, that is to be able to break through and have a person welcome you into their business, and you know, to look at how can I get better, how can I achieve and reach this goal, and have you coach me through it. Like that's a lot of trust people are putting in you, and that would be very rewarding as an individual.
It is so rewarding. I remember once I was sitting there. We at the start of a session we check in, so everyone just checks in and then goes around the room. You know, how are you doing? Personal positive, business positive.
Yep.
How did the quarter go? Sort of thing. And I was sitting there, and I'm like, hey, I'm like in this sacred space with this team that is complete trust in me being there. And I don't know, I'm like, man, well, how privileged am I to have that? It's not every day that, you know, you just get to jump into a leadership team. And then, and I find that when they are ready, and when you're the right person for them, the right implementer for them, that it just, they open up like that.
Yep.
And all of a sudden it's like, yep, this is it. And you just have like the best session. And for me, at the end of every session, I get this like real big high. So like 5:36, I'm just like buzzing.
Yeah.
And it's just you know, and there's so much intensity in the day, but then, you know, you think I would dip down. I peak up at the end of the day, and it's around 9 o'clock when I just like literally just I fall off a cliff and go to bed. But I love it, man. Like, honestly, like being in those rooms and having that people trust what you do, it's just so rewarding. And really, it just, it reminds, it basically reiterates like I'm doing what I want to be doing.
Doing the right thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, but having people accept accountability in that situation, that I think is the goal, is the gold of what you do. So, you know, if you've got a whole sales team around and they're all pushing towards, but they're not being protective, that they're all contributing and they're all got something that contributes in a way that is enhancing what you're doing. You're all moving towards the goal because people are opening up and they're not hiding behind. Well, you can't hide in that situation.
No, and
and you're either in or you're out.
Yeah.
There's no sitting on the fence in that situation.
No. And we sort of work that out very quickly with leadership team, who's in, who's out. And that's just, you know, because, you know, and sometimes it might take a quarter, sometimes it might take a year, but you do work it out, both in the experience of me running with the system, but also some, you know, working with leadership teams that you quickly go like, okay, you know, they weren't the right fit.
Yeah.
And they just didn't believe, you know, and didn't see the vision or didn't believe in the vision, even though they not
or they're coasting.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
And it adds accountability into it. And a lot of the time, business owners will know who's coasting, but it gives them the tool to then the business is now progressing in a fashion where we can no longer accept mediocrity or you coasting.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the tools we put in, you know, things like a scorecard, simple things like we create the vision with everyone so we know exactly where we're heading. You know, we have weekly meetings that we go like, you know, one thing I love about EOS is it's so simple. Like it's just simple stuff.
Yeah.
But the discipline and accountability, you know, you add those two things and the vision just takes off.
And accepting change.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So many people are just reluctant to accept change when it's for the greater good.
Yes. Yeah. And I think, it's just, it's amazing when the team comes together. And also just, how much they learn from those people that, you know, maybe shouldn't have been part of the team.
Yep.
You know, they very quickly become very tightly knit. Like, this is our actual core values. This is how we, you know, what we want from our, you know, our culture in the business and the people in our business. So we want to make sure that when we hire someone, they're going to fit.
Yeah.
They become very protective, and that's when it's turned up just the right amount.
Yeah.
Because then they don't put up with mediocrity.
Yeah.
They just want to make sure that
And they can't hide.
No.
I worked for a company in London. It was a corporate hospitality company. And we were selling all the big sporting events over there. So Wimbledon, Royal Ascot, British Grand Prix, all the big ones. And we're in quite a small office. There was probably about 8 of us and the director. And we're on the phones, telephone sales. So it was like 300 calls a day.
Yeah.
You can't hide. Everyone's in desk on top of each other. And every morning we had a meeting before work started. And then every after lunch, we'd have a 15-minute meeting, and we would go through individually what we'd all achieved and what leads we'd generated. And the board was right in the middle of the office, right? And the sales figures were there. So you couldn't hide from anything, right? And so many times they took on new staff, and by 15, 20 minutes, half an hour into it, gone.
Yeah.
Gone.
Yeah.
Because everything is accountable.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are either doing it or you're not. There's no middle ground. Yeah. And being able to pick up the phone and, again, just the simple, like someone would interview and they'd be really, really good.
Yeah.
But then you would sit them down at the desk and you'd work through the pitch with them, and then people just couldn't pick up the phone.
Yeah.
They just couldn't do it. So it's that, and I believe that was the, not only just not wanting to do it, but just the accountability. It's right there. You cannot hide. You cannot coast. This is it. And you either sink or swim.
No, absolutely. And I think, especially in the sales side of thing as well, it's easy to talk the talk, but it is very different when you walk the walk. And I'm just seeing how much accountability and discipline can turn a sales team around. You can coast through. And a lot of this, you see this a lot because there's instances where we had a period of amazing sales. The pandemic, lockdown, people had cash, low interest rates, people were just buying. And sales was easy. People would just buy, oh yeah, and then it just fell off a cliff.
Yep.
And then you can see the ones that went up. People aren't buying anymore. But I had not put anything in place to make sure that we continued the growth.
Yes.
They're the ones that just struggle. But the ones that went, okay, no worries, here's the systems we put in place to make sure that, okay, we're going to continue to grow and we're going to aspire for more. They still took a dip, but they were able to get through it, But yeah, it's amazing seeing. I've just come across that story so many times, especially fast-moving consumer goods. There's a fair bit of that story happening where people were just like, that cliff was really deadly.
Yep, but it also comes back to working for the right company and having the right person that you're working for.
Yep.
Okay, you can have your sales figures on the board, black and white. Right? You can't dodge that. But there are times when there's other factors involved, like you're doing the work, you're doing everything you can, when the factors out there, they might be environmental or at the time where the sales, like the Victorian economy. The economy in Victoria is really bad.
Yeah.
And, you can sugarcoat it as much as you like, but the reality of it is Victoria is broke. Right? And I'm seeing that with my other company, but I'm also seeing it with markets where people just aren't going out and spending right now.
Yeah.
And that is the cold reality of it. But if you've got a target and you're not reaching your target, but you're doing absolutely everything you can, having a boss that actually sees that and goes, okay, and is real about it, as opposed to going, hang on, no, you haven't hit this level, see you later.
Yep.
And it's like going back to, like, you can have a really good company where, say, you make $10 million a year.
Yep.
The following year, you still make $10 million, but you haven't grown, right? And that's where, with our capitalist society, with a public company, if you aren't showing growth, you're going backwards. But you can still have a good business where you still made $10 million.
Yeah.
You made $10 million last year, but because you didn't make $12 million, the shareholders go, oh, no, I'm off that company now.
Yeah.
Right? And so sometimes growth is good, but sometimes just holding your own is just as good.
Yeah. Yeah, it's and I agree. And I think sometimes there is that sometimes people grow for the sake of growing as well. I've sort of worked with a couple of companies that aren't looking to grow exponentially. grow the profit margin. You know, like you can earn 10 million one year, and maybe with 5%, and the next year it's 10%. That's still growth in some sense. You know what I mean? So I think there's different ways to measure it. But no, I totally agree. I think, and I prefer. I actually do enjoy working with like the companies that go like, yeah, we want to be, you know, we just want to be a great place to work.
They want to be better.
Yeah, better place to work, better for our clients.
Yep.
It's like, wow, okay, what a change. So yeah, it's really cool, and when you come across those ones as well.
Yeah. Well, when you've got staff that come into a company and you've got your systems in place already, they grow from that.
Yeah.
But if you're going and implementing a system and you've got staff there that some might be coasting, well, then that's going to be a challenge.
Yeah.
And that's where you find the right people and the good ones, their heads pop up, and the ones that aren't so good, they stand out very quickly.
Yeah. And look, it's empowering too for a leadership team to, when we sort of go through and we work through things like the core values, and then we sort of go, okay, let's look at your team. Do they live and breathe them? And also you start giving them tools as to how to have decent conversations.
Yep.
Because sometimes core values are one of those things, especially when you're speaking to someone that maybe not quite the right fit. Right person, right seat is kind of what we talk about. So right seats that right persons that the core values fit.
Yep.
You know, they fit your core values perfectly. And right seats, just they get it, they want it, they have the capacity. They are the right person to do the job, and then they're the right person from a culture point of view. But it's just, it's amazing when you sort of give a leadership team those tools and they go, like, oh, right, this is how I can verbalize the way that I want to have these conversations, because I knew something was not quite right with him, but I just couldn't quite put my finger on it. But now I know, I was like, okay, here's, you know, black and white, here's what we're seeing, and then, okay, we'll find some examples, we can have some decent conversations. It's really, really cool.
Yeah, and that comes back to clarity of message as well.
Oh, yeah.
Like having the clarity of what you want to communicate is gold. You know, like so many things we can get done a lot quicker, a lot more efficient, and a lot more easier on both sides when that single message that you're trying to communicate is clear. Yeah. And that's where you come in.
Yeah. And look, it's funny as we say that, it's kind of like parenting, right? Like have three to 7 rules, repeat them often, and follow those rules.
Yeah.
You know? And I think if you just, it's just so, it sounds simple, but it's amazing how much, and especially the last one, following it yourself.
Yeah.
You know, like it's really important that you practice what you preach, but then
exactly,
because it all of a sudden that drives everything in the right direction.
Yeah. It's respect, you know? And when you've got people respecting you because you are doing the right thing, well, that's mutual respect. It goes the other way, and people grow from that. People grow and people get drawn to it as well, and people want to stay. Yeah. And we're in a world, we're in I guess an environment from a work point of view that people are looking for the next thing. People do need to earn more cash, but people will take a pay cut to stay with the right people. Yeah, that comes back to people buying from people. Yeah. Like you will buy a product. Say if you got tires and they're exactly the same tires, right? These tires might cost $20 more, but the person that told you, that ran you through the sales and you felt really comfortable with them, they were comfortable with you. You had trust with that person. You will go and spend the extra $20 with that every single time. Yeah, because you will come out of there driving your car knowing that you're in the right hands and that you've got trust that they're putting the wheels on your car. Yeah, massive difference. And look, I want to touch on this topic a little bit because you've been a great support of mine over the last 4 years. Ever since we met, really, we've had some great conversations. It's been mutual. We're both I've grown from everything you've helped me with. Oh, thanks, mate. Yeah, and I find, and there's not many people. I don't come across a lot of many people that genuinely want to help and want to see you succeed, and that's not a bad thing necessarily. But I really do appreciate it because I find I brought this book out, which is what you sent me. I'll read the book title out, which is What They Don't Teach You at Harvard Business School by Mark McCormick. Great little book, and it doesn't look like it's been read because I haven't really read the book. I've done the Audible. But yeah, just little simple things like that sort of that support side of things. How important is that for you coming the other way as well? Like, do you have a support network outside of the family when it comes to the business? Very good question. I've got I bounce a lot of things off people. I don't bounce a lot of things off a lot of people.
Yep.
But like even yourself, like we're progressing where we've got to level up with our social media, and I've had certain people that we've approached and we've looked at, and I've bounced that off you, and I value what you've said to me, and now I think we've found the right person.
Yeah.
So I do value opinions of other people, very much so. Like I'm always bouncing, like going back to the kitchen, like we couldn't afford to get it wrong, but with the we bounced everything off council. We bounced everything off builders, off electricians, as much as we could.
Yeah.
But there comes a point where you just got to jump in.
Yeah.
But yeah, I very much value people's opinions, and I do go looking and asking. But it's also asking the right people for their opinions.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not just asking people that want to agree with you. That's the worst thing you can do.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, if you've got going down the wrong path and someone, you know, that you look up to, and they know you're going down the wrong path, but they haven't got the balls to stand up and tell you.
Yeah.
Well, you know, that's like a disrespect almost. So having the right person to bounce things off is gold, because it's all knowledge, it's all learning experience for us, and no one has the answer to absolutely everything.
No.
And understanding that and being comfortable that you're going to get things wrong. Hopefully you don't get things wrong that are going to cost mega bucks, but there are times when there's no way, you've just got to run into that problem.
Yeah.
But just being as prepared as you can, and coming back to having the right network around you is exceptionally important. Like, you know, my wife, Bern, she's my biggest sounding board, because we're in this together.
Yeah.
Like whatever we do, when we take on a new thing, it's like before we do it, it's like, okay, we're both on board with this. This is what we're doing.
Yeah.
Yes. And if it's a no, it's like, okay, well, like there's no point arguing. It's okay. We've got to be 100% committed to it together.
Yeah.
Yes. So I don't have a massive network of people, and that comes down to time as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. You know, you can go and speak to 50 people, but it's, you know, no answer's the perfect answer. But it's just taking the ones that you're prepared to work with, recognizing flaws, recognizing your own flaws as well, where a lot of people, I think, and I even, they just can't take a no, or being told that they're doing something can be done better. Like, because people, you know, everyone's got an opinion, and everyone's happy to throw you their opinion, but it's just valuing and just learning which ones to follow. Yeah. So bouncing things off other people, like I can't recommend that enough, you know. And if you don't like the answer, well, value the answer though. Value it if you don't like it.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it's you know, someone seeing that problem from an outside perspective.
I think so, and I think perspective is probably that key piece there, because, you know, sometimes when I get those bounce back conversations, I'm sharing, I guess, certain parts of the business or certain things I do, and maybe not everything. And I think sometimes it's nice to have someone that'll ask the right questions to get to the core of the issue. I really do enjoy that. And I really enjoy our conversations over the years as well, especially while I was driving through and trying to get through, initially, you know, trying to build the barbecue empire that never quite happened. I really did enjoy that though. Like, it's just one thing I do. Is like,
that would have been huge, mate, if you continued with it.
I think so too. And I look at, I think it's, you know, I was thinking about this when I was preparing for this one, because this is kind of one of those things that I've sort of thought about over and over again in regards to, you know, that, you know, sort of, you know, just for a little backstory, I suppose, during lockdown, started doing cooking a lot of barbecue, creating a lot of content. That turned into a bit of a live session that we used to do, and turned into a bit of a podcast, and interviews that I did as well in that realm, as well as stage work with meat stock and things like that. And, you know, I think it was funny. I was always hunting. I was always looking for the next big thing. But I feel like I was never satisfied. So there's a couple of things with that for me. I found one was, never satisfied. Always looking for the next thing. Obviously, you know, get on stage, I mean, stock off, fantastic. And I had all these like lofty goals, like, how do I get on TV? How do I make this bigger than it is? Because I think one thing I did find was there's not a lot of money in barbecue, especially in Australia, right? So it was kind of like, how do I
Commercialize it. How do you
how do I
make money out of it?
commercialize
Yeah.
it and ultimately make it so that everything else could stop? And I tried I tried quite a few different things, but then I think what I battled with was because barbecue as the food is such a valuable thing. It's something you share, right? Like, you cook good barbecue and you share with your family and you share with your friends and you enjoy it.
Yep.
And I think that was kind of what I was going against or rubbing up the wrong way. Was I was doing this, but I was not necessarily sharing it with, especially our family. They didn't enjoy the barbecue as much, and that's totally fine. But then also, I didn't get to enjoy it with friends.
Yep.
So it became
you come to a point where you're resenting your personal time doing something that should have been fun.
Yes. Yeah, that's it. And look, it's still there. A few barbecues in the backyard. And still
don't ever give up cooking ribs. I had that batch of ribs, and I still remember when we went away. We got
that's
those
right.
ribs. Yes.
No, I must admit, they were good. They were good days those days. But yeah, look, again, it's just one of those things. It's the support through that was fantastic, and then even when I shifted into the sales role, there was still that support and conversation and sharing of leads.
Yep.
Which is great. We had a common playground, so to speak, from a sales point of view. But it's been cool. And like you said, I only speak to 2 or 3 people, I think, and you're definitely one of them, bouncing ideas and thoughts like that. And I think it is important to have that network outside of the immediate business as well. It's really helpful.
Yeah, and getting an opinion that you value is the goal.
Yeah, absolutely. That's it. And look, I mean, what's next? Obviously massive growth over the last 5 years for Mama Malisse. And I guess one thing we didn't touch on is the fact that there's an amazing mustard in that mix as well, whole grain mustard, which is
which is now getting its own identity.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
So the mustard.
Well, talk us through the mustard, and then
So the mustard we introduced about 2 years ago, and again taking the family recipe. We've had to tweak it a little bit, and it's now getting to a stage because it's priced as at the top of the market because it is a very, very good mustard. But again, people are reluctant to pick a mustard jar up off the shelf when it's $15. But once people have tasted it, it's like, wow. So now people come and taste the hot sauce, but then they stay for the mustard.
Yeah.
And so they love the hot sauce, but then they're blown away by the mustard. And so now the mustard is now creating its own identity. So that is really exciting for us.
Yeah.
So, getting one product up and running, but now we're getting 2. And I'm not interested in taking on 3, 4, growing the range. I'm just that to me is not our aim. I look at our aim like you look at Tiger Balm.
Yeah.
That one single product in that one little jar is the same product that they had hundreds of years ago.
Yeah. And
they've built a whole empire on that one product. There's Denka rubs and goanna oil and all this other stuff, but on the test of time, that product still stands the test of time. And so you see a lot of other companies where they bring in sauce companies where they'll bring in 5, 6, 7, 10 different flavors. It's like, why? You're only taking away from your market.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're either, I see that as your other products are getting flat.
Yeah.
And so they need to keep, adding things in to keep exciting the market when like people come, we get stopped weekly by people. People come up to our stalls at markets and they'll have the stock at home. They'll still have jars full, but they'll come and want to tell us how much they love our product.
Yeah.
And that doesn't just happen once or twice. It happens every single market or festival or stall, and it happens many times. And it's I love that. Just to have that conversation with people that just absolutely love the product. Amazing. Like today, we're down in Geelong, and people come up. This elderly couple came up straight away, grabbed 2 big bottles. I said, have you guys tried? Yep, we love it. I just need 2. And then an hour later, they come back and they got another 2 little bottles because they were going to give them as gifts.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that is gold. And now we're developing a real relationship with people that we're recognising that come back and spend time and they love the product. And so if you want a different flavored hot sauce, like say you want a mango flavor hot sauce,
Yeah.
cut up a fresh mango
Yeah.
and add it to the sauce, right? It's like you will not get a better flavor than a fresh mango in that if you like mango flavor.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's like with applesauce. You don't use dehydrated apple to make a sauce. So why are all these other sauces having all these different flavors with, you know, dehydrated additives when it's, if you do it, you just do it properly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And look, it's the, I love your products, right? You know that. And it's also the versatility of the two products. Like you said, like, you know, you can add mango to it and you've got an amazing mango sauce.
Well, you made the Fireball
Oh,
sauce.
yes.
The whiskey Fireball,
Yeah, I made a whiskey Fireball glaze. It's turned into a cooking show now. With the Mama Malisse Hot Sauce in there as well. And that was just banging. That was banging. And especially with the cinnamon undertones or the overtones almost when it came to the Fireball.
Yep.
But yeah, look, it's that's the thing, and it's just one of even the mustard. Like, there's some versatility, and I think there's so much space you can play in from how you sell that product, and like you said, why I have this saying that it was one of the Sam Keats is one of the other EOS implementers. They're based out in WA, and he says, "Do less and obsess." And for me, what you're doing is exactly that.
Yep.
Do less, obsess.
Do it properly.
Do it properly.
Yeah.
And then and just grow it. You know. So
like we've got other products that we love ourselves that Malisse makes, and even products that Burns makes. And eventually maybe when we've got, but we just don't have the time.
Yeah.
Because we're so busy with the growth of the two products that we've got.
Yeah.
And that to me is exciting, and I want to grow these products, share them with the world, and let them fly as high as they can of what the potential of these products are.
Absolutely, I think the one thing I guess to touch back on, especially the mustard, I'd like to so this particular mustard is a Sri Lankan style mustard, whole grain mustard, delicious, love it. And there are other brands that do similar ones. They not as from a quality and flavor point of view, don't even come close.
Yep.
But those brands predominantly live in a spice shop. You know, the Asian grocer or the Sri Lankan grocer style shops, right? Like that's kind of where they live. So what you're doing for these products, but also more from a cultural sense for the value, the fact that they're from Sri Lanka, these products wouldn't see the light of day at a butcher.
Yeah.
In Geelong or anywhere in Australia, the fact that they're there, for me is like, it's amazing. I'm so proud of that. As obviously being Sri Lankan is one thing as well, but I grew up with these flavors, and I would have never thought, that I would see these kind of flavors at a speciality store.
Yep. Well, our cultures are now intermingled and mingling together, and like fusion. So it's like taking a cracking product that is predominantly used just by Sri Lankans, but it's so delicious that let's now share it with the world.
Yeah. And
the people, like the Sri Lankans will come and they'll taste, and I'll tell them, they'll go, "What's the mustard like?" I was like, "Okay, well, close your eyes." Right, because as soon as you taste this, you're going to hear the elephants of Sri Lanka, you're going to smell the coconut, and a lot of them go, "Wow, it's just like the mustard we have at Christmas." Yeah, and it's taking that, identifying that was one thing, because we loved it, but just because you love something doesn't mean everyone else is going to love
absolutely,
it. And so we shared it with people, and then the feedback and seeing how much people were loving this product, it's like, okay, let's now do our best to stand at the top of the mountain and tell the world about these products.
No, that's amazing. And I think the fact that it does take you back, it does take you back. And I just, and just for anyone that's listening, do yourself a favor. Around Christmas, if you do a Christmas ham, grab a bottle of this mustard.
Grab two, because you're going to need as soon as you got your Christmas, but then the next day, yes, ham sandwiches, but with a really good ham, not just the shaved ham,
Aussie made proper ham. Yes, I'll attest to making one of the best ham, cheese, and mustard like toasties the next day.
Yep,
they were banging. They would I made one batch and they were just going like that. And I'm like, okay, I guess I'm making more.
Yes.
So yeah, it's amazing. So I mean, you mentioned world before, to the world.
Yep.
So yeah, what's the next, what's the next 3 to 5 years like for Mama Malisse?
Okay, well, we've now got everything in place to level up.
Yep.
So getting our own kitchen up and running has been a massive stepping stone. So yes, the kitchen isn't working near its capacity, but we've got it in place now, so we can now take the next step and be comfortable when we take this next step.
Yep.
Yeah, but again, now we've got to overcome the challenges. Like we're dealing now with the companies that control the 10, going back to the big ones, those 10 companies that control the food of the world.
Yep.
Right, so they're the ones that own the shelf space on all the shelves. Like we're now progressing into independent supermarkets, and it's getting in there. And again, it's accepting rejection.
Yeah.
When that the product that we've got here is 10 times better than the 6 products that they've got on the shelf.
Yeah.
Right, and then the person that you're dealing with, they're not financially involved. It's their job to manage products and product lines. But you know that your product is 10 times better than the 6 that they've already got there, but you're not getting the chance to get into that store. So we're now, but again, it comes back to just knocking on the door, and instead of pushing the product through from our point of view, it's taking it from the other end where we're creating a demand that pulls it through the distribution channel.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so if we can't push it on, well, then we'll go the other way, and we'll get people, the world knowing about it, and then people will go, hang on, why haven't I got that in my store? And it's like, well, I spoke to you about this 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you got to, eat humble pie with that sort of thing. So yeah. But now it's the progressing into the shelf space where these companies own the shelf space.
Yeah, right.
So now we're only a little, we're a grain of sand on a beach.
Yeah.
Yep, but we've got the best product that's out there. So now you've got to be persistent. And accept when it's not the right time for people. But and that's why we've gone through small butchers, independent butchers, because having the opportunity to get the product out there that way has been I value what these guys are doing, because they're rescuing space themselves off the major supermarket chains.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And it's been criminal what the major supermarkets have done. There's nothing gourmet in the major supermarkets anymore. And a lot of the time, it's their own branded version of it, which is a shitty level of that product.
Yeah.
So they've taken the good ones and they've bastardized the product, put their own label on it, kicked out the quality stuff, and now they're selling a second-grade product at premium prices in their own supermarkets. So, it's like every time I do a live or I'm always banging on about supporting the little guy, supporting local.
Yep.
Like markets on the weekends are fantastic. I love going to markets.
Yeah.
You get your fruit and veg there, but you're speaking to the people, and the money's staying within the community. And it is a real community. Like, even if you're up against another sauce company or there's 2 or 3 different sauce companies at the one event.
Yeah.
I look at that as like, it's all of us together make a market.
Yeah.
Okay, one of us on our own isn't a market.
No.
Having the whole community involved.
Yep.
And then yes, there's some other cracking great products out there, and by having the market, the cream rises to the top. Yeah, but there's so many good products at markets that that are never going to see the light of day in shopping in major chains, and because the major chains don't deserve them anyway.
No, and like even at the gluten-free market today, that popped in and had a look, and there was a cracking sauce around the corner from you. I forget the brand. I feel bad.
Yep.
But it was like this. It was a real take on the Sri Lankan lime pickle.
Yep.
It was like a lime pickle style sauce. It was delicious. I was like, oh my god! Like,
Yep.
but yeah, the same thing. Like those will never see. They'll never, And but at the same time, you sort of don't want them to be there either, don't you? Because they'll just, I don't know, they just go through so much bad times going through big chains.
Yeah. Well, it's like I say this to a lot of people where, like getting into a supermarket, it's okay. That's some people's end goal, right? Where to me, that's not getting into Coles or Woolworths. I'm just not interested in it. It's like when you've got like these kids that come through on these talent shows like X Factor and Australia's Got Talent, that sort of thing. Right?
Yeah.
And they think, if I win this, my life's going to change for the better.
Yeah.
When winning it is probably one of the worst things that can happen to your career. Like, yes, that one time you stand on stage and the streamers fall from the roof, but the very next day, like Guy Sebastian, when he won, he had to pump out 10 albums, I think, before he was allowed to make his own albums to make money from it.
Wow, okay.
Right? No one these days makes 10 albums.
Yeah.
Right? And so you're best off maybe getting the exposure. But if you do the hard graft and you go out with your band and you bang on at pubs and do the hard yards, right, then what you're growing is real and it's yours.
Yeah.
Right? And yes, it's hard to get known and famous from it, but it's such a better way to do it that way than to go and try and, on the back of a talent show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And the same with products. If your product is good and you get into a supermarket, the supermarket will put you under so many strict conditions to go in there. Basically, you're on consignment going in there. And then if your product doesn't sell, you've got to come and pick it all up.
Yeah.
They're not paying you for it.
Yeah.
And if it is any good, what they'll do 2 years later, right, they'll put out their own version and kick you off the shelf.
Yeah.
And people don't realise this. Yeah.
No, it's
And the little guys, as you were saying with that other sauce, like I can recognise that from my marketing background and my sales background, but there are so many good products out there from families and they just don't know this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The ultimate goal is not necessarily the ultimate goal.
Yeah. For me, the ultimate goal is to take this, globally.
Yeah.
Yeah, but not through the major chains. Yeah. I'm not interested in the major chains.
Absolutely. I think, you're such a driving force when it comes to that sales and marketing side of things as well. So you do that really, really well. But then you wear so many hats. Obviously.
Well, I have to.
You have to.
Because we don't have the budget for it.
No.
But now we're getting to the stage where we've got everything in place where we are now leveling up.
Yep.
And so to level up properly, you've got to have the foundation. Right? There's no point taking that next step if you can't back it up.
No, I agree. Agreed. And I think that's where people can fall short. And leveling up constantly, and like you said, always solving those problems, right? Always solving the next one, and that's business. But I'm really excited. I'm really excited to see where the next few years comes. And I think it's like you said, you set a good foundation. Obviously, won the Sauce of the Year as well recently at the sort of the
Australian
ABA.
Barbecue Awards.
Yeah, about ABA Awards.
Yep.
Which is fantastic, and I think it shows the amount of effort that's gone through, and I remember Reese winning that. Oh, not Reese walking up to win that too. That was a special moment. I was so glad I was there for that, mate. And so, look, just to wrap things up a little bit, what's your what sort of growth are you working at the moment? Sort of obviously you're growing the business, you're growing, obviously supporting the family. There's a lot's happening and things like that. But what are you working on at the moment personally for yourself?
Yeah, so I'm in a position of now transitioning from my old company into making Mama Malisse sustainable full time.
Awesome.
To be able to draw money now out of it, but because everything that we've made from it has gone into getting into the stage of where we are now.
Yeah.
And you don't realise what you've got. Sometimes you've just got to step back and evaluate what you have and enjoy that time. Enjoy those, don't blow hot air up your own bum.
Yeah.
But just sit there and then, to see now we've got, probably 250 stockists Australia-wide.
That's awesome.
And that's all been done by our own sales.
Yeah.
And now the product, we get exposure at bigger events where now we're picking up customers that are coming to us and they're now seeking out our product because they've seen it or they've tasted it. And so that natural progression is exciting for me.
Yep.
But now making this, it's like we've got the foundation. It's like the rockets on the launch pad and it's ready to go, but you've just got to make sure everything's right for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And so, we're leveling up with our social media.
Yeah.
We've had no budget. I've had no experience with it. I thank you for all your help that you've given us so far with it. It's been gold. But now we're in a process where we're getting serious, getting professional.
Yeah, I like it.
Just taking it to that next level.
And that's what I liked. I had that conversation with you in regards to the social media, and I'm like, ooh, this is because that was something like you said, you just didn't have the budget for. Yeah. Now, one thing I sort of want to point out is you invested all the money you made in Mama Malisse, you invested back in the business.
Yep.
For years now.
5 years we've been up and running now.
Yep. And that's something that people just should take away sometimes. I think when you start a business, and I think this is where people sort of expect to take cash out really quickly as well. And look, sometimes you have to, and nothing against that at all. But this is just really, I just wanted to point that out, the fact that, all the cash was reinvested. And, that's a lot of commitment, especially with two kids and trying to have family and then everything else that comes along with it.
Yep.
It is a lot of commitment to try and do that.
Yeah, well, the product has been profitable from the first batch.
Wow.
But all that money, now we look back, okay, we've got a factory, we've got our own purpose-built commercial kitchen.
Yep.
We've got all the equipment in the kitchen. We've now just bought a labelling machine. And you look back, and if you were to sit down and go, okay, what's the value of this, and this? And then you see, okay, well, the cash flow is looking a bit tight, but then you go, hang on, I've got 30 markets already pre-booked, prepaid, because you need to pay your deposits. Basically for the next 6 months.
Yep.
We've got, when you look at it, okay, we've got $30,000 of bottles, or we've paid $30,000 for orders that we haven't got yet.
Yeah.
And you go, okay, well, there's all the money. From an accounting point of view, it's growing. From a cash flow point of view, it's tight, but every business is.
Yeah.
Until you get chip away at that damn wall and it explodes, and then you just got to be ready for it. Yeah.
Sounds like you are, mate, and I'm really, really excited, and I can't wait to get you back on in a couple of years and get the operator story.
Mate, we'll do it from our super yachts, say Roger Tahiti.
Well, I mean, I get really seasick, so maybe just while it's docked somewhere in calm waters. Anthony, so good to speak to you, mate. So good to have you on the show.
Mate, it's been great. We should catch up a lot more often.
Absolutely. And you take care, and good luck with the next few years.
Thank you, mate. And you too. Good luck with all your stuff. And eventually our company's going to be big enough that we're going to employ you to do our EOS.
Thanks, mate. I can't wait for that.
Cool. Thank you, mate.
Bye.